In the heart of Macedonia, amidst the rugged mountains and fertile plains, a young prince named Alexander was destined for greatness. Born in 356 BCE to King Philip II and Queen Olympias, he was steeped in the traditions of his forebears, yet marked by an insatiable curiosity and ambition that set him apart. From an early age, he was tutored by the philosopher Aristotle, who instilled in him a love for knowledge, rhetoric, and the arts. The lessons of his youth would shape his vision for a world that transcended the boundaries of his homeland. As Alexander ascended to the throne at the tender age of 20, the weight of his father's legacy rested heavily upon his shoulders. Philip II had unified the fractious city-states of Greece, but Alexander's gaze extended far beyond the borders of Macedonia. He was captivated by the tales of distant lands, the wealth of Persia, and the glory of conquest. With a heart ablaze with ambition, he prepared to embark on a campaign that would alter the course of history. In 334 BCE, Alexander crossed into Asia Minor, leading an army of Macedonian soldiers, each man a testament to the military prowess that had been honed under Philip's reign. The first major confrontation came at the Battle of Granicus, where the young king faced the satraps of Persia. With his cavalry at the forefront, Alexander demonstrated not only his strategic brilliance, but also his fearless spirit. The battle was fierce, yet the Macedonian phalanx, a formation of tightly packed infantry wielding long spears, proved impenetrable. The victory at Granicus marked the beginning of a series of conquests that would see him hailed as a god among men. As he marched further into the heart of Persia, Alexander encountered the legendary city of Gordium, where he famously severed the Gordian knot, a symbol of a prophecy that promised the conqueror of Asia would emerge from its unraveling. This act, steeped in myth, signified not merely a tactical victory, but a psychological one, reinforcing his image as a destined ruler. Each city he conquered, from the coastal stronghold of Halicarnassus to the ancient city of Tyre, fell before his unyielding will. The siege of Tyre, lasting 7 months, was particularly grueling, yet Alexander's ingenuity and relentless determination led to the city's eventual surrender. As he pressed onward, Alexander's ambition transformed into a vision of unity. He sought not only to conquer, but to integrate the diverse cultures of the lands he encountered. In Egypt, he was greeted as a liberator, and the oracle of Siwa proclaimed him the son of Zeus. There, he founded the city of Alexandria, which would become a beacon of Hellenistic culture, attracting scholars, artists, and thinkers from across the Mediterranean. The blending of Greek and Eastern cultures would lay the foundation for what would be known as the Hellenistic world, a tapestry of ideas, art, and philosophy interwoven across vast territories. In 331 BCE, at the Battle of Gaugamela, Alexander faced Darius III, the Persian king, in a clash that would determine the fate of empires. The battlefield was a vast expanse, and the stakes were monumental. Alexander's tactical acumen shone as he executed a series of maneuvers that outflanked the Persian forces. The victory was decisive, and Darius fled, leaving the Persian Empire vulnerable to Alexander's advance. As he entered Babylon, the once great city of Mesopotamia, he was met with adulation. The temples, the ziggurats, and the vibrant markets of the city spoke of a civilization that had flourished for millennia. Yet, the conquest was not merely about territory. Alexander sought to fuse the cultures of his empire, encouraging intermarriage between Macedonians and Persians, adopting elements of Persian dress, and even participating in their court rituals. His vision of a cosmopolitan empire was revolutionary, a stark contrast to the traditional views of conquerors who sought to impose their own culture upon the subjugated. The Hellenistic world began to emerge, a realm where Greek language and culture mingled with the rich traditions of the East, creating a new identity that transcended the ancient boundaries of the city-states. However, the path of conquest was fraught with challenges. The further he journeyed into the East, the more Alexander faced the complexities of governance and the diverse cultures of his subjects. In Bactria, he encountered fierce resistance from local tribes, and the harsh realities of war began to weigh on his troops. The grueling campaigns took their toll, and as they reached the banks of the Indus River, the weariness of his men became palpable. At the Battle of the Hydaspes, Alexander faced King Porus, a formidable opponent whose elephants charged fiercely. Yet, through cunning strategy and sheer determination, Alexander emerged victorious, capturing Porus and earning his respect. Despite his successes, the strain of relentless conquest began to fray the bonds of loyalty among his troops. The desire to return home grew stronger, and the echoes of discontent became louder. At the Hyphasis River, his weary soldiers refused to march further into the unknown lands of India. In a moment of profound disappointment, Alexander was forced to turn back, retracing his steps through the territories he had once conquered. The journey back was marked by the harsh realities of nature as they traversed arid deserts and treacherous mountains, facing starvation and exhaustion. Upon his return to Babylon in 323 BCE, Alexander was not the invincible conqueror he had once been. He had forged an empire that stretched from the Mediterranean to the Indus, but the weight of his achievements bore down upon him. In the opulence of his palace, he contemplated the vastness of his realm, yet the specter of loneliness loomed large. The dream of a unified world, where cultures blended and flourished, remained tantalizingly out of reach. Tragically, his life was cut short at the age of 32, leaving behind a legacy that would resonate through the ages. The Hellenistic world, born from his conquests, continued to evolve long after his death. The cities he founded became centers of learning and culture, where philosophers like Epicurus and scientists like Euclid would shape the intellectual landscape of the era. The blending of Greek and Eastern traditions would influence art, religion, and governance, laying the groundwork for future civilizations. Alexander's journey was not merely one of conquest, it was a quest for understanding, a desire to connect disparate cultures, and an aspiration to create a world that celebrated diversity. Though he may have departed from the mortal realm, his vision endured, echoing through the annals of history as a reminder of the power of ambition, the complexity of human nature, and the unyielding quest for knowledge and connection.